Today, creative designer Becki Clark will be showing you how to create 2 pieces of collage art using scrap paper found in your house. You will need paint, glue, scissors, scrap paper and cardboard.
Right, so let's get started. So we're going to start first on a sheet of paper. So any size paper is fine. I've got a sheet of A4 here, but if you've got a old envelope or something like that, you can use that. So I'm going to go to my overhead camera. Right. So all we're going to do to start with is everyone could have a think about the word summer and then think of a word that comes up for you when I say the word summer. So I'm going to start, and then maybe you might want to pop your words into the chat so that I can share them with everyone. So someone said rain. That's fun. That's good. I was going to go for the beach. That's because I went there yesterday. So I'll pop mine in there as well. So we've got a nice list coming up. Flowers, sand, bees, sunshine. So any words that you can think of to do with summer. So this is how you can use these words to prompt colour. And what we're going to do is just have a think about these words and get some colour on the paper. Now, don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be doing anything jazzy apart from getting colour on your sheet of scrap paper. So I'm going to start with, let's start at the top, rain. So I'm going to go for the obvious and I'm going to get some blue on my paper. So just create some colour on your paper here. Now, you don't have to do a section like this. You don't have to do a full section. What you could do is explore some mark making if you want. So push down. And create some patterns. What if you prefer the block colour? You can just create the block colour. But what we want to do is fill this whole page with colour using these words. So the next word that we've got there is flowers. So any colour, when you think of flowers, just go for your initial response. Don't overthink it. What is the colour out of this palette that you're thinking? Oh yeah, that makes me think of flowers. For me, I'd probably go pink. To get some more colour down. And again, like I said, you can do your blocks. So you can get blocks and blobs like this. Or have a go with patterns. So stripes are quite nice. Easy to do. Just push down into your paintbrush like this. For our next word, we've got beach. So what colour does beach make you think of? I think it's because I know sand's coming up, but I've gone for that sandy colour. This colour's really nice though in your paint set. And you might want to do something as well, which is something I find quite mindful when you're thinking about the words. So when you're thinking about the word beach, what you can do is grab some colour onto your paintbrush, close your eyes, and just think about the word beach and move your paintbrush along. So how does it make you feel? Just make like that, closing your eyes. That gives you a bit more freedom to not worry what you're painting. And remember, we're going to be cutting this up. You don't need to worry. These they're not meant to be masterpieces. We're mark making and exploring the creative prompts. Okay, we've got bees. So definitely yellow for me for the bees. And I'm just dabbing some on again, just different mark making with the paints. We've got sunshine, so I'm going to get some orange in there. And it could be that you want to draw some sunshines, or you want to do some mark making and get some sunshine motifs in there. We just want to make sure that our page is looking full, so keep those colours nice and tight together. So you haven't got lots of white space. We want a nice full page. Okay, seagulls. So maybe there's a particular shape that makes you think of seagulls. I guess there's that sort of shape that you draw and you put the mark making on like this. So you could try some of that. And get a nice pattern. Also got sunflower. So what colours does sunflower make you think of? Definitely want some green for those big stalks. And again, it could be that you do some mark making lines upwards for those big stalks. Really let go with this and don't be, just let yourself explore the colours and mark making. Try not to worry about how things are looking or anything like that. So butterflies, that's a really nice one. Butterflies, loads of love, gorgeous colours on butterflies. I guess when I think of butterflies, I'm thinking of the symmetrical, those spots that they have. So I'm going to do some red spots. Again, you can just splodge your paint on. Don't be afraid to work your colour over the top of each other as well. You know, you don't have to keep them separate. Just keep mark making across that page and you get it nice and full. Strawberries. So strawberries is your next word. So whatever colour you're thinking, strawberries. How's everyone's pages looking? I'm just going to have a little look. Are you around about the same sort of, oh, Vicky, that looks good. That's expressive. I like it. There we go. Oh yeah, Karen, I can see you. Charlotte, love your flowers, Charlotte. Anita, they look great. Beautiful. Yeah, Becki and Adele. Brilliant. Okay, so everyone's kind of at the same stage. So we've got a bit more to fill on our pages. I'm going to keep going with some more words to hopefully help. So we want our pages to be completely full. Loads of lovely summery colour. Okay, so I'm going to go for the word grow. So what colour does grow make you think of? And then some of that light, that really fresh green. And then let's go for wildflowers. So those wildflower meadows that are popping up at the moment, have a think about what colour. I'm thinking definitely the electric blue because it makes me think of the cornflowers. I'm just going to put some of that in there as well. Maybe some white as well, the cornflowers. I'm just putting some white on my page. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to leave that to dry for a minute. So we're going to leave those pages to dry and we are going to come back to those in a moment. So if you haven't completely filled it, then as we work through the next exercise, what you can do is continue to keep filling it so that you make sure you end up with a full page. But I'm just going to put mine to the side now so that can dry. And then I'm going to grab so I've got an old envelope here, so any old paper or envelopes that you want to use. And when we're thinking about, so that is for our paper weaving, which is the exploration of the words of summer. But when we're thinking about our mini collages, you may want to think with more of a sort of dedicated palette in mind. So you might have some favourite colours that you fancy using, and that's a nice way to keep your palette nice and limited. So you can see on this one that's mainly neutrals, and on this one I've sort of chosen that sandy colour, the blue the colour, and then the black. So you may want to choose 3 or 4 of your favourite colours for this, and we're going to do some more mark making. Now, easy way to make marks is spots. So we're going to do some spots first. Everyone got another sheet of paper and is okay to get onto this bit, or a bit of cardboard, anything? An old card, just check. So choose some of your favourite colours from this palette. I'm going to go with that terracotta just because I really like it. I'm just going to camera the view on and off quickly because it's unfocused. There we go. So start with some dots on your page. And you can just push your paintbrush in to create dots. And then you can explore some larger dots as well. So they're quite small. Have a go at painting some big spots in. And then have a go at some stripes. So just work across your paintbrush and paint in some stripes. I quite like it when you get that nice texture, so you can see it's coming now with the paintbrush. The paint begins to go off the paintbrush and you get a nice sort of texture paint line in. We don't want to waste any of the paper, so just make sure you're filling that right up to the edges. Then choose your next favourite colour. So whichever colour you want to go with next. I'm going to go with the blue. So that electric sort of dark blue. And another easy pattern to do. So you've got gingham. So you can do some lines down. Create a nice stripe to start with. And then you can go across to create a gingham section. You don't need to be worried about, getting your patterns perfect. Have a go at creating a nice gingham pattern there. Is everyone okay? Is this pace all right for everyone? Give me a thumbs up if everyone's all right. Yeah. Okay, so you've got gingham, and then again, you can just push into your paintbrush to get some nice marks. So push down on your paintbrush like this. Just create a nice section of pattern there. And then another one I quite like is when you create like a wave line. So you can create waves and then join at each end. So you just move your paintbrush along quite freely. And you're just joining up your wave lines. At each end and create that section. Got a lovely sheet of mark making there. I'm just going to grab another bit of paper. And this is just some scrap paper I did print out that went wrong. It was the wrong way. So that's just some scrap paper I'm using here. I'm just going to use the back of it and continue mark making. So again, just pop that to dry if you filled a sheet. So what you might want to do as well is use the black. So use some of your black and create some patterns. So again, you can do your spots, nice and easy. You can do stripes.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Would we be able to do these on like the wrappers?
Yeah, you can do it on.
Would it not work because it will show through?
No, you can do it onto the wrappers. I just quite like the pattern on the wrappers to use.
Okay.
But yeah, you can work onto the wrappers as well.
Let's see how it looks. Thank you.
Still stuck on this, if you're like, oh, I don't know what marks to make, or I don't know how to paint it, then you can always go back to those words again. So the words that we collected at the start about summer, and use those. You can use the seagulls again and do some mark making of the seagulls. Or if it was the sunflowers, again, you could do some leaf shapes. Nothing has to look as the word. You can just take the inspiration. And then you might also want to get some flat colour down as well. So we've done a lot of patterns, but it's also nice to have some flat colour to work with. So you could work on your, like I just said to Chloe, I quite like the patterns to use in the collage as well on their own, but you could work onto these as well to get some nice flat colour. Be looking very beachy again for me. And what you can do as well is have that, so you can always pop a sheet of something, whether it's scrap paper or the wrapper, and pop it underneath like this. So when you're working off pieces of paper, so say if I was just wanting to get some yellow down, you can always work off the sides as well to make sure we're not wasting any paper, because we don't want the patterns just to all be starting in the middle of the paper and end up wasting it. So have it coming off like that. I'm just going to fill this side here. I'm just going to pop some green on. And then we're going to get into some cutting. So how is everyone's first sheet looking? Mine's sort of dry now, dry enough that I could cut it. Let me just check. Let me have a look. See, how are your guys' sheets looking? Are they dry enough that you feel like you could cut them without ruining or getting paint everywhere? Give me a thumbs up if you think that first sheet's dry enough. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to use our cardboard so we're going to use our Bumboo cardboard. So this is the top of your box that got delivered. So we're going to use these as our mounts, basically. And what you want to do is just use your scissors. Now, if you've got little people, you may want to cut your strips quite thick. So let me show you an example of the thick and thinness that you can achieve with this technique. So this is a thicker technique. So if you've got little hands, you may want to be doing that kind of size. Or you can create smaller sections with this weave. So all you need to do is cut your paper and cut it landscape. So just cut it into sections, working across the sheet landscape. So I'm going to do a kind of mid-size, but like I said, if you've got little hands, do big bits. It will make it easier to weave. And just cut through. Don't worry as well if your sizes of paper are if they're all different sizes or one's a bit thicker than the other. I had a poor lady the other day at a workshop who took hers home to cut on a guillotine because she was so worried about getting them right. But it really doesn't matter. It's just about having enough of the sheets to create the weave. So and the nice thing about using the cardboard as your mount is that it will stand up well. So when you're displaying these artworks, it will stand up well on a shelf or, you know, on a mantelpiece, rather than just, sometimes I pop paper up if I've done a print or something and it just folds over. Whereas the cardboard is going to be a nice sturdy base with these mini artworks. And I quite like doing these. I do them a lot with my Celebrating the Seasons group, and we try to do one every season, so it's a nice thing to continue with, especially as we go into autumn. You could have another go and see how autumn makes you feel and get another exploration of the season and just see how those colours and shapes change. Now you probably won't need, you might not need all of your sections. So if you've got any that are a bit wet, you can always leave them to one side. Now, everyone got glue sticks? Hopefully. What you're going to do is just run. You're going to split your cuttings into two groups and try and mix between them so you don't have the cuttings that were next to each other on the paper in the same group. Split them between. So I'm going to start two groups. I've got 9 sections on each one, but if you've got more or less, then don't worry. We're just going to fill this space on the top of the cardboard. So what you want to do is just glue stick one line. So just, can you see just that top bit? Don't glue the whole thing, just glue the top of the cardboard. Lucy, you'll be a pro at this, pro weaver. And then you want to start sticking down your paper at the top. So just, oh, that one's split. No. And you may want to just overhang it a bit so that you've got a top bit like that that you could fold over so that you can make it nice and neat at the end. So with my one that I did before, I folded them over at the back like that. So you're just popping them in next to one another on your top of your cardboard. And if you notice that you've got, you know, some patterns that are coming, like I don't want the rest of the bird, I don't want him next to that one. We want to mix between all of our mark making that we've created. And it doesn't matter if you've got gaps in between either, because basically we're going to weave up those other bit sections of paper, so it doesn't matter, that they will be filled. You won't see the brown underneath. Once you've got those top ones stuck on, just let me know. Oh, I've got a thumbs up from Anita. Oh, they look great. Okay, I'll give everyone just another minute or two just to get that top bit stuck in. Once you are happy with that, the next stage is to weave your paper in between. So basically you just go, let me show you here so you can see on the screen. So you go under, and I like to do it at the bottom and then pull it up. So you go under, over, like that. And then once you've got that, you pull it through right to the top. And then again, so for your next strip, what you want to do is reverse that. So we went under, over. So this time we're going to go over, under. So can you see this one went under to start with? Next we go over. And don't stick anything down until the end, because basically I normally realise after I've done it that one hasn't gone on under or over, or I've doubled one up. So just wait till the end. You almost create like a rug with the weaving, but just wait to stick it down. And again, so that one I went over, the next one I'm going to go under. Now you could also do this. There's quite a lot of those of the patterns on the Bumboo packaging. So you could have a go with the weaving as well, of just using, you've got the gold pattern, that you've got the pattern on the blue and the white. So that's another one that you could weave together. Some people like to leave more space between their weaving, so it's more like a sort of gingham pattern. I like to have them quite tight together, because then from far away it ends up looking like an abstract painting, which is quite nice, and people don't actually realise that it's weaved together. Oh, Anita, that looks brilliant. That was quick weaving as well. Very quick weaving. How's everyone else getting on? Is everyone else okay? Yeah. I need smaller hands maybe to be a quicker weaver.
These just look like joy on a page, don't they?
They do. It's nice as well. Like I said, if you do the different seasons, it's interesting to see the different colours. You could do it with anything, really. You could do like a word association and do it. I'm gonna go a bit quicker. And once you are happy with your weaving, then what you want to do is just glue underneath. So like I said, you've almost created like, you'll create like a flat like rug weave, and you just want to make sure you're happy with it, and then you can glue it underneath so that you can flatten the whole thing. I've gone over. So you can flatten the whole thing down. And work out as well your square. So you may want to trim your ends, or you may want to trim the top. So it's, what I would suggest is you glue down first. So get it nice and glued down. the whole thing. So lift it up, like lift your weaving up like that. Glue underneath with your glue stick. Push the whole thing down so everything is stuck, and then cut into it to neaten it up. So you can cut it into a smaller square, or like I said, you can fold those edges over and glue along underneath. It's totally up to you. And if you've come up a bit short at the bottom, so mine's a bit shorter at the bottom here because I had one that went astray, then I would just cut that off so we don't have that bottom line like that. We've just got a nice flat weave. So I'm just going to move this out quickly so I can get the other bits back in, and we can get on to our mini creative collages. Is everyone happy with their weaving and the technique, and everyone feels confident enough to sort of glue it down and cut out? It's not going to fall apart or anything. Everyone okay? Yeah. And if you want to note down those words as well, sometimes it's nice. So if you put down the words underneath it, so that you know, or you could always run the words through it. So this is my Blue Peter style one I made earlier. That's nice and dry. But you could always run your words through there. So the words are just in the chat if you want to keep hold of them, to write them down. But like I said, so this is on your cardboard, is going to stand up nicely, can sit on your mantelpiece or on your shelf, and is a lovely abstract sort of celebration of the summer. Is everyone happy if we go on to the next bit? Yeah. Okay. So again, we want another bit of cardboard, and I'm going to cut mine down to around A5. So I've got the cardboard here. I'm cutting sort of A5 size bit. We're not going to use, well, you might use the paints actually, so keep them out because you might fancy it. I'm not going to use them anymore, but you might want to add some more to it. So we've got our base here now. So this is for our mini sort of mood board collage. And what you might want to do is get some background onto it. So you can use your Bumboo packaging, and you just want to tear it. Now, the reason I like tearing is because it just gives a bit more of a rustic feel. So rather than cutting, I just like to tear bits like this. And you can start creating a bit of a background. I'm just pushing that on there. And instead of just doing a big section where you've teared it, instead of tearing a big section and covering a big section of cardboard, because this technique you could do onto, you know, A4 cardboard or much larger scale with all your recycling. Do small sections, because that will just give a more textured look to it. It just makes it look a bit more intricate rather than big sheets all stuck down. So if you, even if you want to fill the whole half of this bottom bit here, make smaller sections. And place on like this. I'm going to add some of the blue as well. So again, just ripping and tearing. And just get some nice texture on that. And then we've got all those lovely sheets of the mark making that you've created. So all those lovely colours, and it's just time to start cutting into them. Now, there's no right or wrong for this. Let me just show you that example. So if you wanted to do something more floral, they're quite easy and simple shapes that you could cut out. A vase is always nice, so you could cut a vase shape. One from my mark making. I'm going to cut one and just show you. So you could cut a vase like that, and then that can be sort of where your flowers are going to come from. I'm going to do a few shapes and not stick them down so that you can see and sort of gauge what you fancy doing. Another easy vase is if you do a half moon, so cut into your mark making and do a half moon shape. And that would be a nice vase or plant pot that you could have, or you could have it this way. That might also be nice. A nice one for summer is fruit. So you could have a vase there. And when I say fruit, you don't need to be a pro paper cutter. You could do something simple like lemon shapes. I'm just going to keep playing with ideas so you can gather inspiration and you guys cut what you fancy making. You don't have to do exactly the same as me. If you want to do flowers or if you want to do just abstract shapes even, it's just really nice. One that always sort of makes an easy win, I'd say, is the vase with flowers. But for my lemons, what I do is I just cut that rough lemon shape and then I'm going to cut out some leaves. The other nice thing to do, and I did this yesterday actually, is if you don't want to have that cardboard base, so if you would prefer to have a light colour base, you can wrap your Bumboo wrapper around it. So there's the white one with the gold pattern, and you can wrap it all the way round as if you're wrapping a present, and that will give you a nice white base to work with as well. The other tip I have as well is if you are doing something like fruit or if you're having flowers in a vase, then work with odd numbers rather than even numbers. So go for 3s and 5s. They just look better and will work better on your design. How's everyone getting on with the cutting? What are people going for? Do you want to pop it in the chat or pop your audio on? Are you going florals, abstract? Oh, Charlotte, I like that. That looks very beachy. Oh, Karen's starting with a vase. I like it. Oh yeah, love that vase. Anita, love both of those vases, especially that one with all that texture and pattern on. That's gorgeous. Oh, Adele, I can't see because it's blurred. Oh, nice. Lots of small ripping. I can see at the bottom. So if you're going to do things like flowers, again, you don't need to be too neat or tidy with your stems. You can just, and they don't have to be green. I have just coincidentally cut out the green. But remember, it's an abstract way of working. So you can just pop in sticks of green there. And the bird shape. So the bird shape that I had on this example one, I'm just going to show you how to cut it. So this was my example sort of one, and this is my little bird up the top here. I'm just going to show you what you can do. Is if you've got a shape that is a bit harder, so isn't such an easy cut, then on the back of your paper, then just draw the shape. So that one's a bit wet. Let's have a look. This is one I'm cutting out. And you can just grab a pen because it doesn't matter, because obviously we're going to see the other side. Now that bird, how you can do it, so you do your beak like that, head, and then wings out like this, back down, like that. So he's a nice simple bird, and then you can cut that out and you won't see that because that will just be on my, it would be on my yellow or green, or yellow green there, and he can be cut out. So if there's any shapes that you're going a bit more sort of I don't know, they're a bit harder to cut, not necessarily easy to free cut, then I'd say draw on the back of your mark making sheets. Right. Just gonna get some more. And also the other thing to say is, if at this point you think, oh, I wish I'd done some pink, or I wish I'd cut some more, I've done some more of that colour, then just create some more colour sheets. You don't have to rush, and you don't have to do it all at once. And make sure that you are liking how it's looking before you stick down. Okay, I'm just going to cut out some simple floral shapes. So easy one to do is just like a circle shape with a bit of a waved edge. I'm doing it on a stripe here. You can just go like that. And that can stick on top. You can add leaves as well, so you could add leaves along your stems. You could paint or draw onto it, so maybe on the florals you want to add a centre. I always just tend to do a circle like that. Do another circle there. Where I've not stuck it down, I've got lemon leaves flying everywhere. Or go back and you can use your Bumboo packaging. So if you've got this, you've got a nice background, use it the other way. So instead of the patterned way, use it the other way, and you've got a bit of a, on the dark blue one, sort of a grey colour. And like I said, always go for 3s or 5s. Also a good idea as well is if you are playing around with your composition, you know, where we've got this fruit bowl and we've got this the flowers here, is don't stick it down until you are happy with it. So just make sure, because I might want to move those lemons down a bit so that I could fit more flowers in. Or you may want to, like I said, you may want to create a lighter background. And this Bumboo wrapper, so that's the great one for getting a nice light background. So you can wrap your cardboard in that to create the white base. So I can see everyone is continuing with their cutting and sticking, and I don't want anyone to feel rushed or like I'm rushing you through this. We are going to end the workshop. I'm just going to go back to my other camera quickly. But hopefully you feel like you've got lots of techniques that you could use in creative collaging, and you're happy with one or two of the creations that you've made today. Like I said, I really love those paper weavings for word association and celebrating the seasons. They are a great way to use your recycling, and having that cardboard base is a lovely way that you can have it on your mantelpiece. And then yeah, these mini sort of mood boards are just really nice and fun and creative to make when, you know, you have that, sometimes you have that feeling on a Sunday afternoon when you think, oh, I want to make something, but I don't know what to make. Creative collaging is really good for that, and a good way, again, to reuse all of those bits and bobs that come through the door. So I'm going to stop the recording now, just so we can go to gallery and just see how everyone's got on. And would anyone mind if I just take a screenshot of everyone's creations? Is that all right with everyone? If anyone doesn't want me to, turn your camera off and I won't, and I'll make sure I don't take a picture. But I'm going to stop the recording now and just go to gallery.